Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that whole experience, while it was incredibly painful, nobody goes through an experience like that without learning and growing from it. And you become stronger as a result. You truly believe in your heart that everything is for a purpose. And Molly, even though she lived for a very short period of time, only a few weeks, certainly had a purpose in both Ellen and I's life. It gave us focus and made us thankful for everything that we had. It showed us where we were taking things for granted, and it opened our eyes to a real problem that wasn't just isolated to us. 4 million babies are born each year in the United States, and a large number of them, are healthy. But there is that percentage of babies that, in one way or another, are challenged. And in fact, every baby. And this is another interesting point. Almost every baby born today, and probably most of our listeners here, are March of Dimes babies in one way or another. Previous research has resulted in things like APGAR score, which is a score where they instantly evaluate the health of a baby and whether it's properly being oxygenated and everything else like that. There's a heel prick, where they take a little bit of blood right after a baby's born, and that heel prick it runs about a series of, I think it's like 15 tests. And those tests were all developed by March of Dimes baby, by March of Dimes, and so it's it all adds in there. But for us personally, yeah, I think Molly's in there. I certainly wouldn't be probably as enthusiastic in doing my part in this if it hadn't been for her. And I like to think that she'll be on the beach with us on April 29th.
Yeah. As you was talking, I was thinking of March of Dimes, not just more. I mean, the research that they're doing to improve quality of life for the babies is phenomenal, but as well as the healing that it brings and the awareness to the parents or the mother on how important it is to have the checkups. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The proper health, the folic acid, the vitamins that are in it. A lot of that came out of some of the research with March of Dimes on what you need to have for a healthy pregnancy. And the big thing that the March of Dimes is about these days is educating those mothers. It says if you just do these simple steps, if you keep this in mind during your pregnancy term, these are how you can mitigate and reduce some of these risks. And I'm certainly no expert, but I have worked with this organization long enough now to see that they are they're very enthusiastic and have a lot of ways that they're reaching out and trying to find how do we make sure that every pregnant mother has access to these educational resources. And
now, is March of Dimes involved in like school or just certain community centers or low income families, or is it straight across the board?
I think March of Dimes is primarily focused with both education at the school level and also with businesses. And so by reaching out to businesses and helping educate their employees, and I'm not talking just big businesses, even restaurants and other places that may have hourly workers, fast food places, everything else like that, and helping give them tools and educational media that they can use. Or if maybe it's simple as a poster that gets posted in an employee area. It says, "Are you pregnant or think you might be pregnant? Here's where you can find some information about where to go and what to do." And now these days they're very active online. Trying to reach out Facebook and those kind of avenues in order to try to reach out today's young pregnant mother and father, because let me tell you, I mean, the father has a role here too. Yeah, this doesn't happen, just on one side, and both need to be involved and understand the environmental factors and be supportive in making sure that this is a healthy pregnancy for the baby.
Yeah, a nice support group is
vital.
Absolutely. So how can we as a community get involved?
Oh, well, first off, go to marchforbabies.org and find out where in your local area you can help support a march or just donate to the team. Another one is just talk to people. If you know somebody that's pregnant, say, hey, have you checked out the March of Dimes website? You can, you can become more active besides just fundraising too, and just, go to the March of Dimes Facebook page and share some of the great stories every day, multiple times a day. They post different stories of our premature birth. Post it, help the awareness, help people understand the challenge that's out there today and what they can do to help. And there's some great victory stories too, about where babies that have gone through and been able to recover and are healthy today. Some of those are great stories. You see a picture of this baby, it was 1 pound, and today he or she's a healthy, energetic child.
Wow, Mark, you're awesome.
Oh man, no, this is a great cause. It's not me, trust me.
But you're still awesome. Even if you don't want me to say it, you're still awesome because of your heart. You could keep it in, and you can not share and not tell. But it's important to comfort others with the same things that you've dealt with. Because I believe other people are being comforted from your story and what you're telling them, and even bringing awareness to us about what March of Dimes. Because I know for me, I always thought March of Dimes would just go and just put a dime.
Yeah, putting the dime in the little holes and the thing. Yeah.
I didn't hear about, they didn't really talk about what it actually is and how it helps to prevent premature babies, and how it really does reaches out to the mothers and making sure they, encourages them to get their checkups and eat properly, and they're monitor their weight, and so y'all do a lot.
Well, and businesses have a lot that they can do too, and they've got an interest in this. If you're a large business and you're providing healthcare benefits, this is real important, because all you need is one premature birth to be what's called a shock loss in your health plans that year. And what happens is that means that comes back and says, everybody in your company is going to be paying more their share of the health benefits, and your company's going to be paying more for those health benefits in the next year because you had this hugely expensive pregnancy in the previous year. And so businesses have an interest in there, but even small businesses, even if you don't provide health care, it's still healthy employment. If when you go through an event like a premature birth, you're out for a long time. Your husband's out for a long time. I wasn't a very good engineer of a nuclear submarine when my wife was in the hospital, or when my daughter Molly was in the NICU, and I'm trying to take care of my kids. And it was all a result of this premature birth, and it was taking away. And so there's so many different costs. And so businesses have an interest, and they can be part of this too. A good example is my wife, Ellen. She's got a store here on Merritt Island, Sew Central, sewing, SEW Central. And she sells sewing machines, fabrics, and they do classes. And she's got a great business going on, employs about 7 people. And she can't afford to provide health care for her employees. But she can do everything she can to promote, a healthy lifestyle and support them. And so one of the things that Sew Central is doing is they've got this, their sewing center. They do quilts and embroidery and everything else like that. So they got this beautiful embroidered, quilted wall hanging, and they're auctioning that off. They went out and she went and printed 500 T-shirts, and she's giving them out. Anybody that gives a donation at Sew Central to March of Dimes gets a Sew Central Team Sew Central March of Dimes, March for Babies T-shirt. And it's just little things like that. If businesses just kind of say, this week, this 7-day period, we're going to do our part for March of Dimes, and they can help contribute to this great cause.
And she also going to be, she's gathering a team.
Oh yeah. They'll be out there with their bright green T-shirts, and she's getting Team Sew Central out there, and they're going to be out marching. And, one of the things they do at every march is they have a memory garden. And it's for those babies that didn't leave the NICU like Molly. And so, she'll be out there for, remembering Molly. They put it's a little butterfly garden, and at least our march here is going to have this little butterfly garden. And so it'll be out there. And it's again, as we talked about before, a little bit of self-therapy every year. But also it's fun to get out there and show some company pride and have a team together and contribute to the community.
Yeah, that's true. That's awesome. What is one of your challenges you face trying to get March of Dimes?
Time. Oh. It's just like everybody else. It's where's the time? Because, I'd love to spend, my whole day, every day, on this great cause. But unfortunately, I've got a regular job, got to pay the bills just like everybody else. And then I do get recruited into helping Ellen's store out a little bit every now and then. And then this effort. And so chairing it is it takes a lot of time. It's doing things like this, getting the word out, going out to businesses, But the one thing I got going for me with March of Dimes, though, is that, I can sit down with business leaders, these big companies out here, especially on the Space Coast, the aerospace companies and all this. And really all I got to do is go in there, and I just kind of use a little bit of my leverage there in order to get into the door. And then I just bring in some of these pictures of these neonatal intensive care babies. And I says, okay, say no to this,
Yeah.
And they go, well, our budgets are really, everybody says the same thing. Our budgets are really tight this year. We've had to cut back. And I says, tell that to that baby there. And then, of course, they write a check.
Right. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but it's just finding the time to get out and get the word out. And so this is why things like this, and I thank you for taking time out of your show and letting me come in here and talk about this, because it's a great cause.
Yeah. It's all about helping.
Absolutely.
It's all about helping, healing, and getting it out there so other people can do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a circle. It's a cycle. We learn, we heal. Okay, now let me teach you, and then you teach them. And what is one of your victories? I know you have many, but what is one of your major victories?
Oh, wow. Well, on a personal level,
either one, personal, with March of Dimes,
with March
or
of Dimes.
Both?
Well, from a March of Dimes perspective, one of the things we recently did is that Publix got every store manager in the Brevard and Volusia County areas around here, and they have a quarterly meeting, and they allowed to carve out about 15 minutes for me to come in there, and so I was well prepared, and I went in there and I gave a great prep talk. I said, come on guys, we're gonna go do this. Told my story, got to talk to them, and we got them all fired up. And then they started challenging each store, one store over the other, and everything else like that. So I think that's going to pay off really well, and I look forward to that. And I ask all the customers in the Space Coast area, make sure when you go into Publix and you get asked to donate to March of Dimes, please support. But that's certainly one. We've got a golf tournament. Of course, this is Florida, so golf is big here, and they're putting together a big golf tournament next week, and they've sold out all the teams. All the holes have got sponsors, and they're all going to be out there playing golf for the babies. And so that's on the 21st, and that's most of the companies out at Kennedy Space Center. It's where I work.
Yeah.
And so that's been a victory too for our little campaign right here in Brevard County. But probably the biggest victory that I can say on a personal level with the March for Babies and March for Dimes is that this, as I said, this is Molly's 25th. It's been 25 years, and Ellen and I realized that we'd gone for a while and not really thought about this, kind of blanked it out, and this has made us retell our story again and kind of get re-energized and rejuvenated about what this was all about. And it brings back some tear. I mean, if you can look closely, I can't tell this story without a little bit of tear coming to my eye. But that is a personal victory because I don't want to forget that. I want to have the same passion that I had early on about what can we do to help solve this problem. So, but anyway, so yeah, that's, from a March for the Babies That's probably been my biggest victories I had. I wish I had more time to put to this, but we're trying to do everything we can.
What is your goal for March of Dimes that you see?